things he wants to do for that girl are almost impossible. You see, I've never been in love before, but God knows.
Welcome, y'all, to Street Apologist Live. Come on in, ladies and gentlemen. Come on in. Today is Sunday, or should I say Sunday, July 19th, 8:11 here on the West Coast. I know it's a little bit later for y'all on the East Coast. My bad. Shout out to y'all. Sorry, getting started a little bit late. We got all these video files. Trying to make sure they do their thing. Woo! Soko on the beat. Soko on the beat. I know you guys like that. Come on in. Let's begin. Yeah. Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Street Apologist Live, your favorite urban apologetic show. I'm your host, Vocab Malone, broadcasting out of Phoenix, Arizona. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not already done it. Just subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, you know. I mean, what's the big deal, right? And I'm chilling with Justice in the back. You can see part of him. Maybe he'll show his face on camera later. Yeah, it's up to him. And what's going on here? Let me see. We live stream usually for about an hour and a half, too. Sometimes we freestyle if we get enough super chats, and I love to interact with y'all in the live chat. We got great people here. Got a great mod squad. Just some great people here. And we do urban apologetics, so, you know, Christian biblical perspective. And we like to serve the underserved and look into the overlooked, right? We also like to make apologetics fun again. And so hopefully that's exactly what we'll do tonight. Now, what are we doing tonight? It is the Nick Cannon Saga. I know some of you are tired of hearing about it, but honestly, a lot of the stuff I've been hearing, I'm feeling like a lot of people talking about it, frankly, don't really know what they're talking about. I get it. They're commenting on it to comment. But if you notice, I try not to comment on news stories just to comment on them. I try not to comment just because it's going around and kind of you need to comment. You know what I mean? I try to pick ones that are particularly relevant in some way to urban apologetics, or especially Hebrew Israelism and Islam, and have some background, I hope, that will help the audience, I hope, filter and process these things at a deeper worldview level, where you're able to look at some of the philosophical, theological, and sort of just the religious presuppositions a lot of times, worldview issues, you know? And so that's exactly what we're going to do here tonight. And so I've done a 20-minute video where I just talk about the underlying philosophical issues and assumptions with a lot of what Nick Cannon said that people considered controversial. The main charge was that it was anti-Semitic, as he spoke there with Professor Griff, formerly of Public Enemy, on a somewhat recent Cannon's class. But what's been interesting is the reaction, and the reaction tells you a lot about the person who gave the reaction, right? So I want to look at some of those reactions today, as well as follow up on some things from previous shows, specifically the show we did on Deshaun Jackson and those things. And, you know, actually coming up here, if you look at the schedule coming up here, we actually have some more programs dealing with Hebrew Israelism in the NFL, which the Deshaun Jackson situation was a sort of a subset of. And, you know, this is not a news program. I don't, you know, cover everything like that. That's not kind of all we do here, right? You guys know that. It's not necessarily like the bag, right? But what it is sometimes we do cover those kinds of things. And I think that's important. And, you know, I do see a higher interest when I comment on those kind of things. Me, I have sort of mixed feelings about it, you know, where I like to comment sometimes on things in the news and current events, and I want people to see the relevancy of you know, the things that we talk about on this channel. Sorry, I'm getting stuff set up while I do this. But I also don't like to just be like, what's the item of the day? What's the flavor of the day? Because I like to have content that we call evergreen as I drink my iced coffee. And yes, in case you're wondering, as a fashion statement, I am rocking my COVID-19 bandana, which is basically just a bandana that you pull over your face with the Italian flag on it, right? If I could circle just Sicily, I would, but I can't. Well, I guess I could, but it like ruined the look, right? Even though all you see is black. The real thing is I had a stain on my shirt, and I didn't want it to show up too bad. And so I just figured, you know what, I'll just rock this. It matches, essentially. You know, you see the red, white, and green, little hints of it. And so I just cover up that stain. Facts, son. Okay, I think this is one of those programs where I owe you some freestyles. And I know some people complain about freestyles, but other people love them, and I just feel like we just need to get started off with a freestyle, okay? And so give me a second. I'm going to line some up here. I'm going to line up some freestyles real quick here. I don't actually know how good I am right now. I've been feeling really rusty lately, to be honest with you. I got to be honest, man, I've been feeling really, really rusty. But my man, Justin Martyr, recently dropped some dope new tracks. And where did they go? Just give me a second. I need to find where he put these tracks at. Justin Martyr, where did you put these recent tracks? He just gave me a bunch. Is that him? No, that ain't right. I can't find these recent Justin Martyr tracks. The whole point was I wanted to use these new ones. Just give me a second here. It might take a sec for me to find these new Justin Martyr tracks. I had them all lined up. I promise you I did. But you know, sometimes things are like that. We are taking too long in the beginning of the show, aren't we? Yeah, we are. Dang it. My bad, man. I just, you know what? I enjoy live streaming. I kind of have fun, and so sometimes I take my time, you know? It's my fault. I'm sorry. But you guys are faithful. You guys are good people. And, dang it. Just, you know what? If you're watching this on the replay, just skip some of these parts if you don't like it. You know what I mean? I'm not even saying that to be mean. I mean, I'm serious. You got some dope beats in the background in the meantime anyway, so that's nice. But, alright, let's see here. Let's do rock this Justin Martyr track. Yeah, okay, so it's already there. It's under download. Alright, so I did have it ready. I really did. It's a fact. But finding it is kind of becoming another issue. Hold up. I know a trick to. There it is. Alright, yeah. Alright, here we go. Is it gonna be worth it? I don't even know. I actually don't know how this beat sounds. But shout out to Justin Martyr for the track. Let's see. I used this in the background for the Canada video too. Let's see. Turn this short up a little bit. I got love for y'all, man. You guys are good people. Come on in. Yeah. Turn the mic up to 10. Let's begin. Yeah. You know we gonna win. Rocking out the microphone, men and women, and children and adults. Well, it's not my fault if I go so slow. Sometimes I walk real slow. I stalk and then I balk. Yo, man, I'm barely in the dark. I'm so immature. Raise my hand like I'm sure. Rock the microphone like I have the cure for cancer. Dude, Jesus Christ is the answer. Never was a dancer, always been a rapper. Never like a prancer, not a romancer. Vocab Malone, a rapper, not chancer. Not from Chicago, Jesus, who I know. Yes, Italiano, like I was Rambo. Yo, now I got the low flow. Flip it up, switch when I'm from Ohio. When I roll slow, never really did the tootsie roll. Vocab Malone, I got him in the chokehold. Satan, yeah, he's the one I'm hating. Nah, no debating. I know you was waiting to come on in, but now we gonna do this. Expose my sin like I was a nudist. I'm just playing, yes indeed. Now I be straying like a sheep sometimes when I rhyme from the mind. Here we go, it's time to shine divine like a diamond. You can flip up the light, see it in the new light, and then bring it back, alright. From the black to the white, to the brown, to the yellow. Come on in, my mellow, my fellow, hello. Yeah, we got the halo, we got the heart. Now the chariot low, wind swing low, with spiritual good for my soul. Vocab Malone, I saw a miracle called regeneration. It's spiritual, not reincarnation, not physical, it's not carnal. No, I'm not Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he'll be back. Now I flip up the rap, I got the boom bap, sounds like a backward track when you flip it backwards. Listen to the words backwards, backward masking. Now I'm asking, what's the tasking? Don't have a flasking, but a cup. Stand up, listen, Satan better shut up. If he comes up in the live chat, kick him out of here. Got the iced coffee, don't got no beer. Now we switch the atmosphere. Hey, yo, check it out, my dear. Deer in headlights. I got these rhymes that I said right before I start get my mind right. Bringing it back. Check it out, check it out. My point on the map is Phoenix, Arizona. How you liking that? Not a cloner like Star Wars. Second one sequel. Check it out in the steeple. Earlier when chilling with the people. Past the gate. Some of y'all saw. Came on in. And then we had party, yes, y'all, in the spirit speaking. Yes, it was the body, that's who we speaking. Freaking the beat at the end of the weekend. Come on in, Marcia Puerto Rican. Nah, she's Australian. That's the other girl in LA. Man, I'm messing all up. I'm trying to rhyme Carmen there somehow. Something, I don't know. Don't hold it against me. All right, y'all, let's get started here. I got everything lined up, I really do. I promise I'm somewhat lucid, you know. Sometimes when I drink too much coffee, man, be messing up with my brain. Slows it down. It's a dope beat though, right? Yes, it was. Thank you, Justin. All right, now, if you haven't seen it already, you need to make sure you see the short version of what I did on this, which I call the Wild Beliefs of Nick Cannon. That program we did and explained the comments, you know, the philosophy behind them, what was going on, so you can really understand. That's that program that we did. You definitely need to check out that video. Maybe someone can drop a link to that joint in there. Now I'm going to show a couple screenshots from some of this initial controversy, and so we can kind of understand it here, what's going on. I'm going to give you guys some background. And so here we go. Put this over here. And I'm just going to look at some different comments, and we're going to just go through stuff, and I'm going to give you guys commentary. See what's on your screen right now. This is from Hebrews Hood. This is a.k.a. Mikhail Ben Israel. And he repeated something that I want to look at real quick. You can't be anti-Semitic when we are the Semitic people. Canon continued. Here, let me put on this side of the screen, actually. Well, actually, that messes it up a little bit. It's easier to read over here. I'm sorry. Actually, I'll leave it right there. All right. They want to be. That's our birthright. Canon also said the black people were the true Hebrews. Okay, so you see Canon being quoted there by Hebrew Israelites because, as I mentioned, Canon is not a Hebrew Israelite proper. He has too much different stuff also in his ideology, but he's certainly been influenced by Hebrew Israelism. And so that's the point I made, and I think that's self-evident to someone who understands these basic issues, right? Okay, now, what I brought this out, though, is to show you that this is how a lot of Hebrew Israelites feel, okay? And the way they feel is that we're not anti-Semitic because we are the Semitic people. And so it's what's called begging the question. Question begging is where you assume what's trying to be proved. Now, the Hebrew Israelites, they think this is a done deal. They think it's obvious and the world is hiding it, that everybody knows the truth, right? It's this grand conspiracy theory, right? That's the nature of this ideology. And so that's why, you know, you see these comments. They just can't accept who we are. You know, a lot of these folks, it was only 2 years ago, you know, that they weren't Hebrew Israelites. They were something else. But now they're Hebrew Israelites, and now everyone needs to accept what they are. But notice the very strong, even biblical language that he used initially, right? We are the same people, saying we are actually the Semites. They want to be. So the fake Jews want to be Semites, but they're not. That's the subtext to this. That's our birthright. So, you know, we've got this, right? We are the true Hebrews, indicating, of course, there's false Hebrews. Now, of course, you know, Viacom dropped them after that. And then you got Mikhail saying this cat is coming out the bag worldwide. But of course, he has since walked back the comments, which now a lot of people that were supporting him are now coming after him, calling him all kinds of names. And so there's been a lot of aftermath with this. And so let's look at some more here. There are plenty of people who believe this and refuse to talk with him. There is no point. It really comes from a deep inferiority complex. So they come up with these ridiculous theories. So there you see somebody trying to explain the beliefs. Now, I can sometimes say, let's talk a little bit about what we might consider like a basic psychoanalysis. We could do that sort of at a basic level sometimes and say, why would a person believe this? But I don't like these simple, kind of like explanations people have, you know, and I think they're unhelpful. And notice here, you know, people that have met some of these Hebrew Israelites, they're like, well, I'm not going to talk to these people. I don't think that's a good idea either, right? How does that help anything, right? But again, continuing with some of these comments that he had here, Nick Cannon says white people were a little less closer to animals, the true savages, acting out of a deficiency. So the only way they can act is evil. When does he cancel? Well, he did get canceled. Now, I'm not into all that, right? I think Christians should have a more forgiving attitude, even when the person doesn't necessarily apologize. This is my view, okay? Some of these things do come down to opinion, and so I'm sharing my opinion on this matter in this way. My view is people should be allowed to say actually a wide variety of stuff that I think is that regardless of how correct it is, as long as they're doing their job. Now, I get it. There are lines you have to draw, and so this becomes tricky. I understand that. So this is the general principle, right? And so I do think that we should be much slower to cancel people once they say something we don't like. I don't think, now some of you guys would disagree. I don't think he should have got canceled at all. If he's doing his job, fine. You know, we can have a conversation about it, but I don't think just firing people is the answer. They do the same kind of thing to Christians. Now, the trick is how consistently when we apply this, because then let's say you get to the Grand Wizard of a KKK or something, and let's say he appears to be doing his job, whatever it is, but it comes out that he's a KKK member or you know, he's in charge. It becomes trickier there, in my view, because of the deep association with violence there. And so I understand freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences. I get that, but I think we should basically be more gracious and truly tolerant. Now, when someone apologizes, as Nick Cannon has, I think we should be the first people to accept apologies too, as Christians. So these are the things I think. So this is not about bashing Nick Cannon or whatever. This is more getting about the ideology behind it, right? And this is looking at what was said as far as the facts. Hey, Aaron Larson says, I love your chat with David Wood. And a lot of good and helpful stuff said. V, what we need is more dialogue, less anger and hatred. I appreciate that, Aaron. Also, Aaron is a faithful supporter on Patreon. And you know what's interesting about Aaron that I respect you for is Aaron does not always agree with everything I say. And sometimes he lets me know. Sometimes I think he just, you know, listens or whatever. But Aaron still sees the overall value in the ministry that we do here. And so even though he does not always agree with everything I say, he still supports ultimately. And I think that's the best kind of folks to have on your side. They know you're not God. They know you're not perfect. They know you're not flawless. They know you'll make mistakes. They know they're not always going to agree with you. But they're willing to roll and ride because, you know, they don't cancel you out. Because I do have people, the second I say something they don't like, they cancel me too. And that's fine. That's their right? That's okay. But I have a much more lax attitude. And I don't think it's helpful for conservatives to be like, well, the left does this to us, so let's just always do this to them. Okay, maybe they will do this, but I don't think our reaction, well, you got punished. It's like what kids do. You got punished that way. When's he going to get punished that way? I think we should be a lot more like, you know what? Okay, let's talk about it. That's what you said. And people like to throw shade. Look at this comment. Getting canceled by Mariah is worse than getting canceled by Viacom. Well, I don't know. I think Viacom probably put a little more cash in his bank, you know what I'm saying? But whatever. Okay, now look at this. I brought this out on my Instagram as well. Isn't this shocking that... Oh, my God. You want to do that? Now bring it on. Let me make it okay, there. Stop it. Okay, so check this out. Why did they cancel and they say after you fail to acknowledge or apologize? Now, for perpetuating. So originally, he doubled down, right? And went after them for all kinds of things. Now, he's since apologized. And so, you know, he's still able to do other stuff. Hey, shout out to Jimmy Richardson, Ben Yashara. Appreciate your super chat there. And so, wait, what? He only apologized to Jews because it's basically illegal to say what he said? Jagged little pill, red pill? Help me out. How is it illegal to say what Nick Cannon said? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be contentious. I don't understand. What did Nick Cannon say that was illegal? I don't understand that comment. It just caught my attention. Now, I circled on here. Look who was trending. Nick Cannon was trending. Wild and Out was trending, which I never really was a fan of, which, you know, even though I grew up battle rapping and I like, you know, freestyling stuff, it was just like a certain way they did it. Hey, shout out to the KDP 5000 for the super chat. Shout out to you. But what I did like is I saw this new segment. I don't know how long they've been doing it, but if the whole show was more like this, I might actually, it was where they like in a classroom and you freestyle and you have to say a different word than the person before you. And then what happens is if you say the same word, you get kicked out. So they're like banging on the table, you know what I mean? And then freestyling. It's really dope the way they were doing it. Like, it sounded cool because it reminded me of high school. They're like, you know, except high school wasn't all like that. Hey, shout out to Aisha Marie. Hey, I'd like to talk to you. I want to get you on the show. I know you dropped the album back in spring, and I would really like to get you on the show. We maybe could do the both of you. I haven't been able to talk to you about it yet, but I think people would like your music and like you, so I'd like to get you on. If you're able to hit me up, I'll hit you up anyways. She says I never like Wildin' Out because it's corny to me. Well, you know, I mean, that's what I'm saying, but I do like that segment they do where they're like, I forget what they say. It's like, I don't know, but anyways, it's dope. Okay, so that one particular thing. Okay, so here's what's fascinating, though. Look what else was trending on Twitter. Hebrews. Amateur hour. Okay, good. Well, we'll do this. So that's dope. Like that's crazy to think that you got Hebrews trending on Twitter. So this has been bubbling in the underground for a long time, and people are like, well, why do you do with that? You know, it's never going to be big. You know, why do you take it seriously? Blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? Ever since this conversation happened, well, not ever since, because the media seemed to kind of catch it kind of slowly. Oh, shout out to Funkle Sam for the super chat. The one and only Freedomite. I don't know what that is, but shout out to you. You got the Bumblebee Transformer insignia. But ever since this conversation with Professor Griff happened, Hebrews is trending. Now, the thing is, everybody should understand this is not going to be the last time this happens. Do you remember just last week what we covered? Deshaun Jackson, the NFL player? This overtook that. Before that was Ice Cube. Are you guys paying attention? I know I go slow sometimes on this show and I take my time and I diddle, daddle, dawdle. And so sometimes people aren't with that. I get all that. Other people like that pace. Forget about me. Just think about wherever you are at in your life. Hebrew Israelism has been trending. When I don't literally mean trending, but I mean popping up in the news via the mouthpiece of celebrity social media the past month, nonstop in some way or another. Do we understand this? We are at a place where a new ideology, when I say new, what I mean is newer, especially in its current incarnation, is coming from this place where it's been to a more mainstream position. Sometimes I got to do that to refocus, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Do you guys understand that? So Christians should pay attention to that. We should care about that. We want to be like the sons of Issachar, right? The sons of Issachar, the Bible says, were wise, knew the times, and knew what to do. Now, hey, none of us are perfect, right? So we make mistakes or whatever. But let's have some like awareness, right? And so some of you guys who follow this, this program on a regular, you guys know what's up. You're ahead of the curve. You're ahead of the curve, right? And so I think that's good. And so shout out to you guys for making this happen, even when it doesn't seem like the most, popular thing going on, right? Now let's look a little bit here. Hold on, let me make sure I've got boom. There was a couple other screenshots I wanted to show you before I get into some of these celebrity reactions. I just emphasizing these actual words. Now here's what's fascinating. If you look on the screen, the things Nick Cannon was saying about true savages and acting out of a deficiency, specifically of melanin, and closer to elements and a little less. First of all, these are clearly reactions, as we said before, to white supremacy. This is exactly what white supremacists have said about black folks for the longest time. Everyone should recognize that, right? And so if you really are equally, if you're fair, you'll hate when white supremacists say this stuff as well. Now, this stuff wasn't said about Jews. If you listen closely to the conversation, as I have a number of times, this wasn't about Jews. This was about white people. And so it's weird. The main thing, though, that's caught the media's attention is the stuff that is considered anti-Semitic, which was a smaller part of the conversation. So it is interesting that there is an element of truth, of a special sensitivity towards things deemed anti-Semitic specifically. Now, I'm not saying that people, this is tricky. See, I'm not getting into conspiracy theories here, but sometimes I notice that there's certain things you could say about, it's like if it's white people, it's considered sort of okay, but it's considered Jews, that's questionable. Are they white? What's their relationship to whiteness in America? These kind of questions. And then the anti-Semitism thing is taken more seriously, and that makes sense to an extent because of historical context. But all this stuff he wasn't saying about Jews, he was just saying about white folks, right? You guys, if you listen to the conversation, that's a fact. What happens is I saw some Jewish commentators acting as if the things on the screen, those things he was saying like that, with Griff was, right there with him. Griff has been saying this stuff for decades, was directed at Jewish folks, but it wasn't. And so it's important to understand what was said about who, right, in the conversation. Now, some people are like, why are we getting fired for saying stuff about Jews? Like Charlemagne the God said, we can't even get cops fired who kill us. There's some there's some element of truth to the fact about the trouble of getting cops fired, right? When they kill people, black and white alike, actually, if you really look at it, right, the way it is. But there's a special problem when it considers the cops in the black community, right? We recognize that. We should recognize. I recognize that, right? That's why I recognize the validity, the utter validity of the phrase Black Lives Matter. Now, obviously, as we discussed on our show Saturday, the organization, it's difficult to separate these things out. I get that, but the organization, Black Lives Matter, is something that I don't see any Christian really being able to get behind, the organization. But the phrase, I don't see how any Christian can't get behind it. Now, whether you want to use it as a hashtag, I get that. That's a different question. But I think we can recognize the importance of the phrase and all that. So these are difficult times, right? There's a lot to consider. We can't just go through haphazard. But notice it was the anti-Semitic aspect, and those were smaller as far as the level of invective. That was more the conspiracy theory stuff of they run the banks, they run Hollywood, right? They're not real Jews, that kind of stuff. You see what I'm saying? This stuff, though, was just like, why do Europeans and their descendants act the way they do? And I break all this down in my video, okay? So this is important to understand and to look at. And by the way, I'm not agreeing with the commentator. I'm not about that cancel culture life, which I already explained to you. So I'm just taking screenshots from things I say. Now, I thought this was interesting. Let's look a little bit at the Hebrew Israelite reaction to what Nick Cannon said. Divine Prospect, he's in some ways a friend to this show. He's someone I enjoy talking to. I did think this was a little funny, though. So, shout out. This is no shade, Ron, you know what I'm saying? I'm not, but this is also funny. A friend sent me this, and I was like, what's the brother doing here? So Nick had said, anyone who knows me knows that I have no hate in my heart, nor malice intentions. I do not condone hate speech, nor the spread of hateful rhetoric. We're living in a time when it is more important than ever to promote unity and understanding. Here's the thing. I accept that Nick believes that and feels that way, right? I think that is who he is. I think there's a disconnect in his mind, and a lot of people who have actually you got yeah, you guys know that Vernon Brown account's a troll account, right? So I think there's a disconnect with a lot of people, right? And they don't understand that some of the stuff they're saying has problematic implications. And I think a lot of people who say some of this stuff, like Nick Cannon was saying, I think they just view this, well, these are just facts. And if you listen to the interview, there's almost a incredulity, or people were like, they're like shocked how some people were considering this hateful, because they think, I'm just speaking the facts. Where's the hate in my heart? So when I talk about the advantages of melanin, I'm just speaking facts. This is science. Now, of course, it's pseudoscience. Or when I talk about the true Jews, I'm just talking true history. Now, it's pseudo history. But you got to understand, a lot of people who don't understand this as being problematic, and I think Nick Cannon is genuinely like that. I think that's my that's the way I look at this, and so I believe he believes that. I don't think he's exactly a clear thinker. I do appreciate his thirst for knowledge. You know, people are out here making fun of Nick Cannon, and I saw one guy say that he dresses like a prepubescent palm reader, and you know, there's all these like people are throwing shades and all this and that. Yo, man, we can drop all that. I appreciate Nick Cannon cares about knowledge and information. How many celebrities are trying to use their platform in that way? You know, Cannon's corner. Now, the thing is, it's a lot of falsehood. So we got to suss out, we got to be able to say, what's the good and the bad here? I appreciate a celebrity who is trying to go deeper, right? Now, it's mass confusion in Nick Cannon's case, right? Which it is a lot of times with these folks, right? So I believe this statement, but we have a leading Hebrew Israelite here who reached out to him, and listen to this. I thought this was interesting. I applaud you for taking ownership of your statements, my brother. However, you need a publicist that will work with you in becoming more tactful with your words. I'm willing to help. There are ways to share truth without the blowback. DM me. So he's saying I could teach you how to navigate this, and I thought that was interesting that's going on. So this has caught the attention of Hebrew Israelites, but I think they see he's in a kind of a unique place in a lot of ways. So let me show you some other Hebrew Israelites that it's caught the attention of. This is IUIC. So they're simply quoting him. So IUIC is the most opportunistic One West group you could ever imagine. Whatever's hot or trending, they jump on and try to talk about it and flip it to their agenda. They think they're clever, but really they're just opportunistic. So you see their colors they use there. They're quoting them there. They did this high contrast on this picture where they make him look kind of older than he is or something. I don't know what's up with that, but they got this graphic design situation. But they've been sharing images like this nonstop, right? And so here's one of the images that they share, right? And so this is IUIC. They've really been responding to this. And IUIC actually has an interesting little sort of word of advice they give to Hebrew Israelite people who are celebrities who are dabbling in Hebrew Israelism. And their general idea is, hey, you guys let us take care of this. You stand back and support the work because we don't want you to lose your position. IUIC is also highly, highly pragmatic. And so they'll be saying stuff like, you know, let me see here. Okay, hold up. They'll be saying stuff. Dang it, I'm trying to find this. I got some IUIC things I'm gonna share here in a second. I think it's only on my phone though, so I might not be able to. We'll see how well it shows up. Where is it? I share so much stuff, and then I kind of lose track of what I shared where. You know how that goes, right? But I got this. It's this drawing that IUIC did. It's like this artwork, and it shows a lot of the celebrities who have recently come out and who have said these different things, right? And then what they do is they have this little thing where they're like, "Hey, don't worry, celebrities. Let us take care of it." And it has like this little picture, like they've got their back or something. Where is it? I had it on here, man. I got so much going on, and I saved so much on this, and I just lose track of it all. I can't find it right now. I wonder if I went to your guy Nate's, if I went to his Instagram, would I be able to find, or his Twitter, would I be able to find it? But it's on Nathaniel 7. That's the leader of IUIC there. It's his Instagram that you can see this kind of stuff, and so that they've been interacting with this stuff as well, and so you just got a grip of people. Let's see, nothing. Let's see if I can find this. I'm gonna look real quick, okay? Look real quick here and just go to a quick run through. Oh, look at that! I actually found it pretty quickly. Hey, all right. Let me share my screen here real quick. Then, boom, 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 boom. Share screen. Is this gonna turn into a video? Oh, look at that! Everything is working out today. Man, look at that! Boom, 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 boom. All right, dear celebrities. Hold on. Dang it. Dear celebrities. Look what it says here. Look at this. Please fall back and support this truth. So give us your money. Don't give us your words, right? See what I'm saying? Hey, Carol, thank you for the super chat. It's always good to see you, by the way. You're OG. Let us take the heat because we have nothing to lose but everything to gain. Now, look they did this. This is IUIC doing artwork, right? They got Cube, all right? They got, wait, where did, oh, yeah. Where did, what's his face? Where did Nick Cannon go? Oh, I guess they don't. Oh, okay. They don't have Nick Cannon on here. They're saying these are the people who like. Oh, he's right here in the front of the picture. Sorry, I'm exegeting this picture. I'm messing up. They got Fantasia, who we talked about before, right? You know, we discussed her. Looks like Deshaun Jackson. And then if you look right here, of course, we talked about almost all these folks. Hey, good night, Carol. Look at this. Look at this here. They got his head wrap in the front, so he's at this table of celebrities who have recently come out, right? Look, you got Kendrick Lamar showing a IUIC picture on his phone there. You see that, right? And and so that ain't that Dwyane Wade? Ain't that Dwyane Wade right there? I believe that's Dwyane Wade. Ain't it Dwyane Wade? It ain't. Yeah, I think it's Dwyane Wade. And so I'm not really up on my basketball stuff like that. I believe it's Dwyane Wade, but they got Dwyane Wade there, if I'm not mistaken. And so here's the thing. So they labeled you anti-Semitic too, huh? Canon, yeah, but we are the true Jews. So there's that same idea. So I'm glad I was able to find that actually pretty quickly. And so I think that's helpful. And so we're also going to show another NBA player in a second here, Dwight Howard, but just hold up on that. Give me some time on that. We're going to get over that. There's so much to cover. Now, in times past, everybody blamed Nation of Islam for everything. And so it's true some of these ideas come from there, right? Man, oh yeah, see, I don't know what I'm saying, Asha Marie. We cover Carmelo Anthony too. I'm so sorry. Look, it's not that I don't pay attention to basketball. That's all it is. I don't pay attention to basketball. We cover Carmelo Anthony. It's just the Carmelo Anthony we got, man, he's got the beard and everything else. You don't look the same. Look at that. My bad. I have to delete that part out. Everyone's going to be hating on me. Thank you, everyone. I knew that, but I didn't know it. Whatever. All right, because, he talked about it too. And so you see all this going on, right? Hey, shout out to XP. Have you seen any of the textbook references? No, I'm not sure what you're talking about. What do you mean their textbook references? Who? You gotta help me out. Tell me what you're talking about there, XP. But thank you for the super chat there. Yeah. Lance Bass came out too. We have all the best celebs coming out. Stupid. Oh man, it's stupid. You guys get that? Okay. All right. So you guys saw that. Now let's look and see what some of the celebrities had said. Okay. I believe I mentioned briefly Charlemagne. So what did he say? Charlemagne said, oh, my bad. I totally missed up what I was going to say. Traditionally, people have been blaming the Nation of Islam for everything. But now we got to look at a situation where we've got a number of people who there's a number of ideologies when they say this stuff, okay? So it's just not NOI anymore. Okay, that's what I was trying to say. Hey, shout out to Mr. Phil Fox. Much love to you, and thank you, brother, for your ministry as well. Everyone subscribe to his channel, please. All right, so here we got Charlemagne said that that Nick Cannon's point about Jews having all the power was proved because that's why he was fired. And so it looks like somebody, King Dom's Kingdom, agrees with that sentiment, says, notice he was only fired for his anti-Semitism, not the white hate. And so Char was the only one who said something meaningful. All right. And so, that it's interesting. So Charlemagne, people have been coming after him now because what he did is he said, hey, this proves basically that what Nick Cannon was saying was true, right? You can't talk about Jews because look, you get fired. And so that's what he was saying. So it's interesting to see reactions, and people have been getting at Charlemagne about it, but it looks like he has he stood his ground on that, right? Which a lot of people who supported Nick Cannon earlier now are coming back and calling him all kinds of names, hating on him, because what they're doing is they're saying, hey, you sold out now, basically. Hey, shout out to Eric. How you doing, Eric Aguirre, man? I've been knowing you for almost, it's crazy, bro. If you think about it, bro, my man Aguirre, I've known you for like 20 years, bro. You ever thought about that? That's crazy, man. Me and you go way back. Shout out to Eric, my man Eric Aguirre. All right, so next up we got Puffy, who I guess he's taking back the name. He's going less by Sean Combs. He said he's going more by Puffy or Puff Daddy or whatever these days, right? And so what did he say? He said, hey, Nick, we got your back. Come over here to Revolt TV now, or whatever it's called. I didn't know, but I guess Puffy's has like a media thing. It's called Revolt or something. I think that's where they did the Candace Owen T.I. dialogue or whatever, which was somewhat interesting. Not that I'm rock with either of those people, but I thought that was kind of interesting. So he said, hey, come over here. And what Puffy said is, hey, this shows the problem of ownership. Now I'm going to stop there for a second. I'm with entrepreneurship, especially for ethnic communities, let's say. Now, for everybody, right? But it needs to be encouraged, especially in places and fostered and cherished, because it is a way out if properly done. Taking chances and risks should be encouraged, especially when people have the idea to give back to the community. Let me tell you something real quick you guys probably don't know about. I'm going off track a little bit here, because I got this on today, right? With the Italian flag, right? Oh, wrong way, right? Reason I bring that up is when Italians and Sicilians started coming over here in the early 20th century, a lot of times they couldn't get loans. All kinds of reasons for that. And black folks definitely know about that, right? They know about that for sure. That's how America's been doing them, and even to a large extent still does, right? Complex issues, whatever. Well, the Sicilians couldn't get loans especially, is my understanding, right? I wasn't alive then. This is my understanding of the situation from what I've read. So in San Francisco, a man began something called the Bank of Italy. Now, it was in America, but he called it that because he was a Sicilian, and he had an eye out for the Southern Italians, and so he was going to loan them money. All right. What's my point about saying all this? He did everything on a handshake, and he did it primarily for his community. Well, he became so successful, it became a more sort of official thing. But for a long time, it was called the Bank of Italy. The reason why I say that is this was this inter-ethnic community entrepreneur. Shout out, XP says the IUIC textbook references, I had a hard time believing some of their claims, but some of their references, like the Pick of Abraham and the Christian Catacombs of Rome, was unsettling. Hey, I'd like to see that. Some of that stuff I don't know about, but of course, nobody was drawing Abraham at the time. So you got to understand, just like white pictures of biblical figures don't prove their skin color, or whatever the color of the picture of anybody doesn't prove their skin color, because the Christians didn't know Abraham. They were, a couple thousand years too late. So they can draw him however. You see what I'm saying? And so we can't just focus on one and say the black ones prove it or the brown ones prove it, but the white ones don't. You know what I mean? And so that's something to consider. But I'd like to look up at that. Well, going back to all this, do you guys all know what the Bank of Italy became? The Bank of America. Bank of America, if you look up the history, it was Bank of Italy. I kid you not, look it up. And that's why I still use Bank of America today. Just kidding. Now, it started one way, benefited the community, and then broke off into something much larger that benefits many people today, right? A net positive for society. My point by saying all that is, Puffy has somewhat of a point where what he said to Nick was, this is partially about ownership. We need to be able to be on our platforms where we can say what we want to say. Now, the thing is, Puffy, I guarantee you, even he would have limits, meaning there's people he would kick off Revolt TV if they don't say, you know, the right thing or they say the wrong thing. He's going to have his own limits. Each kind of organization and whoever's owning ends up setting limits. It's just how it works, right? Everybody ends up the question is, where do you set the limits, right? And so I'm with Black ownership and Black entrepreneurship. I think if you care about the community in America and you want to love your neighbor as yourself, so should you, regardless of your skin color. So I appreciate some of the point that Puffy's making about having ownership, because ownership is key, and Christians are going to learn that. When we start getting kicked off social media platforms, you know, we talk about, I built this platform. Google owns what I'm doing right now, basically, at the end of the day, and they can remove the videos if they want. That's why we need to save them. And I'm using their space. You know what I'm saying? When I talk about the YouTube, Zuckerberg owns the Facebook live stream basically right now, as well as the IG one. It's just facts, okay? You know what I mean? There's a sense of it's ours, but there's a sense of who has ultimate ownership, and that's why they could take the videos down. You know what I'm saying? That's why. Okay, so this is what's up. So you look at what Puffy said. He was like, "Hey, come over here. You know, come over here. We got entrepreneurship. You're not gonna get kicked off for saying whatever you want to say." Now, what does Puffy really think about these things? I don't know, but here's what's so fascinating about it. And this is like a never-ending rabbit hole of what these celebrities are doing. And I'm not all about celebrities, but we got to understand they influence people, and people look at them, and they are examples of us in a way. Check this out, because this relates to Puffy. Look at what's on your screen. What? Diddy gets a lifelike biblical image tattooed across his entire back. June 14th, 2017. So this has been coming up in the news lately, I think partially because of what Puffy said to Nick, but it looks like it's older. But look at this. Oh, there's all this crap. Black Madonna and Child. This is Puffy's back. That's some serious dedication, right? That's some serious dedication. You know what I'm saying? To get that on your back like that. Like, you know, once you do that, you know, you're serious about this, right? Boom. My point though. And look, I'm not into images, and I'm definitely not into iconography. I'm definitely not into East and West, you know, Roman Catholic or Eastern Orthodox stuff. So I'm not like with this really anyway. But it's interesting what it does is sort of shows some of the thought process, right? So now you have this kind of sort of conscious thing going on where he's getting Black Madonna and Child on his back. And so that's interesting. People have been hitting me up. Is Puff Daddy a Hebrew Israelite? Nah, Tupac always talked about Black Jesus. Tupac wasn't no Hebrew Israelite. We got to understand, some of the second someone says Black Jesus doesn't mean that, all right, I see your book there. Can somebody say that reference to the brother XP? By the way, XP, I really appreciate your super chats, and I'm gonna mark this down. I would like, yeah. Can you email me that there? That I appreciate that. Email me at thestreetapologist@gmail. XP, thestreetapologist@gmail.com. If you could email me that, I love to check this stuff out. I love looking at the sources and stuff. So thank you for that super chat, and thank you for that. And I want to check that out. All right. So hit me up with that. No, I will check it out. All right. Kingdom says, I can't vote either because of felonies, man. It's messed up almost 15 years ago. Yeah, you know, I don't know, man. I've been wondering more and more about stuff like that. Should felons not be able to vote and ever own firearms again? I don't know, man. The firearms, you know, okay, depending on the crime you do, but this not being able to vote. Sorry, I'm totally getting off track here. Okay, now, let me come back. Send me that, okay? So Puff Daddies, and they're not Hebrews. Just because someone talks about Black Jesus, it doesn't mean they're Hebrew Israelite. The problem is, and this is all due respect, a lot of white Christians are so out of touch, they didn't realize there was a Black Jesus undercurrent, right? With like lots of segments of aspects of black society for a long time, but way before the Hebrew Israelites were really kind of like really well known. You know, you go back all the way in Good Times. You guys seeing the class? It's a classic clip in Good Times where they got Black Jesus in there. There's other stuff before that, right? James Cone was talking about it. Talmage. I mean, this stuff's been going around. But sometimes people are like, Black Jesus must be Hebrew Israelites. No, just because I say Black Jesus doesn't mean it's Hebrew Israelites. Anyways, I just got to help you guys out, though. People want to like always put something in a category. Just find out. It's okay to ask. That's better to ask. Better to ask than to automatically think you know. And part of what I'm going to show you is like a sophisticated thinking, right? So this just shows this interesting awareness and kind of a different views coming about and coming to the forefront where it wasn't necessarily part of the conversation in the way that it has been now. Now, let me show you this one now because this relates to the prior one. So there's Dwyane Wade. I don't know why I said everyone's going to crucify me for what I said earlier about which guy was which. Must have been the jersey. Threw me out with the red and black. Anyways, I knew that, but whatever. All right, so there's Dwyane Wade, good baller, Miami Heat, blah, blah, blah. He got in trouble when he said, we got your back, Nick. And so he got in a lot of trouble just for like a real kind of brief, kind of like little mention that hey, Nick Cannon, we got your back, right? So what Dwyane Wade had to do, because man, the heat comes heavy when people were worried it's anti-Semitism. In fact, the only video I've ever gotten taken down on this channel permanently, I am almost 90% sure it's because the reviewers did not understand it was satire, mocking anti-Semitism, and I think they thought I was doing an anti-Semitic video. And it's fascinating. Out of all the stuff I cover, which sometimes gets me demonetized, it gets all kinds of stuff going on this channel. The only one that's gotten taken down and the failure, the appeal failed was a video that I think YouTube. The reviewers thought was anti-Semitic. Now, it wasn't. That's why we dropped the Snowflake edition. It was criticizing that type of thought. But that is fascinating to me, okay? I'm just putting it out there from my own personal experience. Now, so Dwyane Wade, what did he have to do? He had to come back and say, hey, I wasn't saying I agreed with what he said. I didn't really look at what he said. I was just saying in the sense of we also do need like our own ownership and that kind of thing. Kind of what Puffy was saying, but he had to come back and clarify real quick because the way the heat comes on you, pun intended, real hot and heavy if you're deemed to say anything that could be potentially anti-Semitic. Now, I think that's there's somewhat of a danger there because we should be able to have some of these discussions and talks without immediately being labeled anti-Semitic. And so I do have a concern if stuff that is just a discussion gets labeled anti-Semitic real quick. Christians should be aware of this. Let me tell you why. The New Testament has been charged with being anti-Semitic. In fact, in Mel Gibson's The Passion movie, there was a line where he was quoting from Matthew, I believe, about, hey, let the blood be on our heads. And they were saying that was anti-Semitic, right? Well, the thing is, the Bible records the Jewish leaders of that day saying that, hey, Jesus is going to get crucified, Pilate, let his blood be upon our heads, not yours. But because of the medieval persecution of Christendom against Jews, calling them Christ killers and stuff like that, right? You can still run into wackos on the internet who refers to Jews that way, right? I guess that line either got taken out of the movie or I think it was left untranslated. I forget what the end result was, but I know it was a big fiasco at that time. That's New Testament quotation. And even though the Hebrew Israelites interpret Revelation wrong, where it says synagogue of Satan, John, who was Jewish, is saying something about certain local Jewish communities in his day. Jesus had harsh words for the Jewish leaders of his day. My point is, we don't want to just jump on these bandwagons. Let's say you don't like Nick Cannon or whatever, and you jump on get rid of them because we got to be careful when people get canceled out this way. What we're really asking to happen, and we really want to have equal scales and measurements because Christians, they're coming for us too. And when I say them, I don't mean people, I don't mean Jewish power structure. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying people who hate what the message of the gospel is and dislike the message of key components of the Bible and aren't down with Jesus, right? We just got to keep this in mind, okay? So I'm just trying to think through these things thoughtfully. Now, I played. I mean, who else did I mention here? I got some other reactions here. I got to get because I'm trying to show some different reactions. Okay, now remind me. I've got something from Dwight Howard that was before this, but is relevant that I'm going to try to play. Not from Dwyane Wade. He's a different baller, Lakers, that I'm going to play. But let me first show some other things that have happened since then. Specifically, this. Back in the day, when Ice Cube was said to say some anti-Semitic stuff, he ended up linking up with this guy right here, Rabbi Abraham Cooper. And I guess that Rabbi Abraham Cooper and Ice Cube had some kind of relationship. You know, there's a picture you can find of them together from the JewishJournal.com, for example. So it's kind of a fascinating, funny little thing there. And now Abraham Cooper has also come now with the Nick Cannon situation. Yeah, let me just read this. This is from 2017. Ice Cube, the well-known rapper and actor, was about the last person anyone might expected to MC the recent Simon Wiesenthal Center Museum of Tolerance 2007 National Tribute Dinner. It wasn't so long ago that Cube and the center had a nasty feud over lyrics to a 1991 song that some interpreted as anti-Semitic. Yet there was an event on April 5th at Beverly Hilton to honor Ron Meyer, vice chairman of NBC Universal, who had requested that Cube, real name O'Shea Jackson, lead the festivities. It was an opportunity to close the circle. It was a long time in the making. We did a schmooze before the event, said Rabbi Abraham Cooper, associate dean of the Wiesenthal Center, who was embroiled in controversy with Cube at the time. The song at issue, No Vaseline, had called out. Let me just, since I'm reading this, let me just share it on my screen. Where did it go? Where did it go? It went right here. There it is. Now let me bring it up again. Now you can see it too. Hey, and then I'm gonna make it larger. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. All right, so check this out. Yeah, the song at issue, No Vaseline, had called out Jerry Heller, the manager of the Cube's rap group NWA. Before Ice Cube started a solo career, Cube blamed Heller, who was Jewish, for problems that had befallen NWA. It's a case of divide and conquer, because you let a Jew break up my crew. Cube rapped on No Vaseline, which drew immediate condemnation from Simon Wiesenthal Center. We're not asking Cube to master reality of the streets. This is kind of funny. Look at Cooper, this rabbi, talking this way. We're not asking Ice Cube to mask the reality of the streets. By all means, flag the social problems, but don't exploit them by turning a professional spat between a former manager and an artist into a racial dispute. I'm sorry. People be talking funny. People just talk funny. Don't they talk funny? He talks funny. I'm sorry. That's funny to me. A racial professional spat. Don't ask the reality of the streets. I'm sorry. I respect Jewish people because they're... Oh, wait, Cube. I respect Jews because they're unified. I wish Black people was unified. Cube shot back. Okay, so it just goes on. Then they end up going on Oprah together, right? And then, they kissed and made up, and they're all good, right? And hey, well, I gotta like Cooper a little bit. Check this out. Cooper, you get props for this, for whatever else I think about you. Look at this. Cooper told the Journal he'd never been a fan of rap music. He said he was from a generation before. He described himself more as a Four Seasons kind of guy. All right. Walk like a man. Hold on, let me get it a little different. Sherry, baby, Sherry, baby, Sherry. You know that whole thing, right? Four Seasons, Frankie Valli, huh? Big girls don't cry. Doom. So good stuff, right? So, anyways, sorry, he gets props for that, right? Hey, you gotta watch Jersey Boys. Got a lot of cursing. Man, that movie is just. Movie's classic, man. That movie's epic, man. You gotta watch that joint right there. All right, coming back now. Air horn. So, what happened? What did we do? Hey, Connor Terrell, thank you for the super chat. That's right. Sherry, baby. Yep. So, what happened? Well, Nick Cannon went and got himself the rabbi and brought him on the Cannon's corner. Look at this. Not the highest quality picture. Let me make it bigger for y'all. So apparently, Rabbi Abraham Cooper is going to be making an appearance on Cannon's Corner. Fascinating, right? Isn't that interesting? So this is part of the apology that he's doing. Now, look at that book on the top. that black and white cover, I recognized it immediately because guess what? I have that book. Barry Weiss. And shout out to BK Apologist. Everybody subscribe to him, right? Shout out to my man. Yo. Barry Weiss wrote that book, How to Fight Anti-Semitism. And I got it because I think she mentioned the Hebrew Israelites in her Joe Rogan interview. And she's a fascinating, bit contradictory figure, but fascinating figure. Read about her exit from the New York Times, which my man David Wood covered on Act 17 Apologetics, so you definitely want to peep that out. But I recognize that. So it looks like there's a couple other, I see something there that's from that says something about the Bible. The bottom one looks like a children's book. It looks like a library book. It's got the little sticker on it. Maybe it was used and whatever, discarded. But someone could look, so it looks like the rabbi brought some books for Canon to read instead of just the ISIS papers. Because if you listen carefully to the conversation between Canon and Griff, the ISIS papers are mentioned several times. And I brought this up a little bit in the live stream I did with David Wood, with John McCrae and Adam Coleman. Somebody drop a link for that. That was a good conversation. And I brought up some of this, right, about the ISIS papers. And this gets into pseudoscience. It's from the broader conscious community. This is not really stuff from Hebrew Israelism. Hey, D-New, much love to you. Gonna miss you. You're gonna go be with Sister Sleepy. Sister Sleepy says, who gave Nick my pajamas? Why do you guys say this guy? Who gave Nick my pajamas? He said, because. What's wrong with you people? What's wrong with you? Stupid, man. Oh, man. What's happening, people? All right, so now it's time to show some video. Right? I think I've shown the pictures that I was trying to show. Yeah, I did. Yep, I did it. Okay, so let's look for that Rabbi Cooper interview when it drops. Whoever sees it first, send it to me. A lot of you guys have forgotten about Brandon T. Jackson. And the main reason is because he sort of left what kind of the future he had in Hollywood, which whenever people do that, I respect him. So I'm not even making fun of him like that, right? To really go all out on Hebrew Israelism. So you got to respect Brandon T. Jackson because he's not one of these, it doesn't appear, half-hearted celebrities. Well, guess what? He also weighed in on this. And here's the part of the show where we're going to show some video. I've got a couple videos I want to show. We're going to get into this. Now, I've debated if I should play all this. I feel like I should. Let's see here. Ignore that. That's our Islamicize me there. Let's play some Brandon T. Jackson here, okay? Because he spoke on this, and it's pretty fascinating. Okay, and I think you guys should hear it, okay? Yeah, I've got to play this. It's 7 minutes. I might not end up playing it all, but I do got to play this, okay? I mean, hey, this is part of the show. This is what we do here, okay?
Hello.
So, okay, so here comes HXP. Thank you for the super chat. Their preaching is okay. Maybe you can make a case. However, the arguments with the textbooks really paint the picture. They used to say the name because the prices of the books skyrocket. Yeah, I've heard about that. I have some former IUIC friends who also comment on some of the textbooks things, and I've actually seen some of them. And the thing is, a lot of those textbooks, if you look at the entirety of the textbook, other portions end up disagreeing with their thesis. But you know, whatever. Okay, I think I'll just put this on the screen down here right now. Okay, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to play this here. This is Brandon T. Jackson. He is all in with his Hebrew Israelism, okay? His parents were pastors, especially I believe his dad was a prominent pastor, and he commented on this discussion, and so we need to watch this, okay? So I'm actually going to mute my mic. Let's check out Brandon T. Jackson together, and let's come back and comment and discuss on this, okay? Afrod Zakari says Brandon T. Jackson was a phenomenal in Big Mama's house too, a tour de force. The comment's not totally showing up because I'm in the way, but whatever. All right, so here we go. Can you guys hear this?
It's Brandon T. Jackson from the Kingdom. These last few days have been very disturbing for me with a lot of the anti-Semitism and the things that's been going on. And
okay, so he is commenting now on the Nick Cannon situation. So what is the show? Originally, the show had somewhat of a different angle if you look at the original picture I was for this particular live stream tonight, but it changed a little bit. It morphed because of all the commentary that I was seeing back from public figures about the situation. So tonight I wanted to give you a survey of these and kind of analyze each one. So hopefully you've learned something tonight about this. We're just kind of going through this. There's so much more we could do and talk about, but I'm trying to show you some stuff. Isaiah Braxton says Brandon T. Jackson and Tropic Thunder was the best. Man, let me do this so I can put the comments on the screen. Hold on, I need to fix this real quick because it's gonna keep on doing this where I can't see it. Hold on. Okay, there. You'll be able to see it now, but they're just going to be kind of small. It is what it is. Okay. All right, but at least you can see it now. Okay, boom. Okay. And so I want to play his and give you a sense of this. Okay, so the audio is good. Okay, here we go.
My heart is troubled because I'm finding my peers in Hollywood, the ones I grew up with, the ones I've done films with, the people that I, worked with, being challenged with the lie, truth, their heart is being tested. And, a lot of people don't believe the truth. It's just what it is. It's a lot of people believe that what we believe is delusions. A lot of people believe that everything that we have is because we've got a mental sickness. We read a book, and the mental sickness of the book has brainwashed us into believing something that we aren't. Now, you got to ask yourself a question. Why would Brandon T. Jackson, who was about to be the biggest Hollywood young star, do the data, do the research? Why would he walk away and follow another path? Not religion, because I don't believe in religion. I believe in truth. Why would a man who was going to be Beverly Hills Cop that could have auditioned for Coming to America, the person who could have been the next Eddie Murphy and Will Smith, why did he walk away to be a son of God? Why did he walk away to follow these scriptures, these books, this truth? Why? Why would I walk away from everything that I had? The women, the love, women thinking I was handsome at the time, watching my place get given to other actors. Why? If everything we're saying is fake, why would I walk away from Hollywood and say, Hollywood, if you're not in subjection to the Torah and the things that this says, I cannot do your films. Why would I do that if it's not real? Everybody, if you follow this book, you're going to be tested. Either you believe or you don't. And when God comes for that test, if you pass, you will be elevated. If you fail, like the Matrix, you'll forget this ever happened. But either you're going to take two pills, the red or the blue pill, you got to pick one. And I decided to go down a rabbit hole with the Father. I decided to see if he was real because I didn't believe anymore. How about that? For all my non-believers, I didn't believe that the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob was real. I tested the data for myself. I put my family, my life on the line to do those things. So I'm not going to apologize for having faith in the Most High. I'm not going to apologize for standing for the truth. I'm not going to apologize for standing up while my God elevates me. I'm an example, Nick Cannon. I'm an example. All y'all out there, if you trust in God and if you trust in Him truly and you trust in truth, you won't have to apologize for your faith. Now we getting caught up in color. My son is white. with 2 black parents. He's still an Israelite. Now look, I don't want to get caught up in all the bloodlines and stuff. Even Paul said don't do that. But I do believe that the Shemitic race is the children, the sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That is the Negro man and the Aboriginal Afro-Asiatic man. It is true. There's nothing you can say about that. We have white rabbis that will back us. We have black rabbis that will back us. It doesn't really matter. Does it really matter when it comes down to when your heart is tested, what you believe? Maybe it's bigger than the color. Maybe God is using this for just to get us back into His spirit. Maybe it's bigger than understanding what it is, because you've been tested. You've been tested. You're going to be tested. I'm going to be tested on all levels. And I pray that I pass my test. But I know one thing, that it will always be kingdom over everything over here. Because you don't tell anybody else to apologize. You don't tell transgender people to apologize. You don't tell anybody to apologize for being what they say they are. So let's just say blacks aren't the Jews. Let's just say that. Let's just say quote unquote. Let's just say, let's go with that argument that we're lying and we're delusional about what we're saying. Let's say that the Shemitic race is not black. Let's just say that. Let's say it. Let's just say it. But if someone wanted to identify as a Jew and they were melanated, why is that anti-Semitic? When you got plenty of people saying Black Lives Matter, Trans Lives Matter, Bisexual Lives Matter, you can identify everything but the children of God. I need my people to wake up and understand that this is a propaganda. This is a Satan, knowing that you have an inheritance when you come into God. Money, He'll give you your own money. Hollywood, He'll give you your own Hollywood. He'll do all these things if you follow Him. He said, I'll raise you up above all the nations on the earth. And you don't have to apologize for following truth. And what's your truth? You're not telling transgender to apologize, but you're not telling none of these people to apologize for identifying as something. And if I want to identify as a rabbit, I can identify as a rabbit. I'm not going to apologize. If I'm going to identify as a Jew from a tribe of Judah and the tribe of Levi, a king and a priest, I'm going to be that. And I will not apologize for being a man of color and a Jew that follows Christ. Please. If I can see people walking around here with dresses and heels and everything and they don't have to apologize, I can identify as a Jew. Guess who I am? I'm not mad and passionate because I'm watching brothers fold off things. They don't know the power of the Most High. They don't know the power of God. Whether you're Shemitic, whether you're green, blue, He reigns over all nations. And the faith is what justified Abraham. The faith in Him justified his elevation. So sit back and watch the show when you follow the Most High God. And forever, all day, every day, I'll honor Him. And I'll say, like I say all day, every day, kingdom over everything. Peace be unto you.
All right. I see the comments about the Brandon T. Jackson video. And so what we're doing here is that we are looking at different responses by public figures. I recognize Brandon T. Jackson is not in the limelight like he sort of once was. And partially it's because he's actually went all out. You know, but he's more of a true Hebrew Israelite in this sense, embracing the ideology. He's not a one-Wester because, from what I can gather, because he doesn't seem to embrace their Lashawan Kodash, right? He doesn't seem to, from what I can tell. And he doesn't seem to think that other nations, quote, are going to be servants. So I see some of the Christians saying, hey, Brandon Jackson's got some good points, right? And so he has a real Christian background. I mean, as far as how he came up. So we see that, let's see a little bit of what you guys had to say here. All right, let me see here. Where did you guys comment? What else did you say? All right. I'm Looking here, what you guys had to say a little bit, and put some of your comments on the screen. Okay. Oh, okay. What? Guy. You don't say nothing. I don't know who this is, but somebody's upset I don't speak about who they view. Look at this. You don't say anything about Khazarian Jews, Jewish. They say they are Jews. Well, you guys say plenty for me, so I don't need to say too much about it. That's all you guys do is whine about that. Shawnee brings up in responses earlier, because you have no facts to support your assertions, LOL. And that's kind of how it is. Of course, Chew the Lion says, go ahead, B. He's definitely filling the comments there. All right. And then we also got Nick P says, well, that's because the devil is good at his job. Yes, agreed. Judah the Lion, though, yes, preaching. And Shawnee brings up the point, sir, you're walking away does not mean it's truth, LOL. And so that's true. You know, people walk away for all kinds of things that are false. But doesn't necessarily, doesn't mean it's right. You got a super chat. Do you think the prophecies against Edom really happened? Hey, I'm okay to talk about that, but not today. We're not doing that, right? But I'll just say this real quick, since you asked and since you sent a super chat. The short version is yes. Prophecies against Edom already happened. People thought that a long time, even before the Hebrew Israelites came around. You know what I'm saying? So Edom, there is no more Edom kingdom or Edomite kingdom. The closest you can have is Jordan. So maybe there's descendants. Maybe there's some descendants, of the ancient Edomites and Jordan, perhaps. But as far as the distinct ethnic people group, they are gone. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. But no, and I'm just putting some of you guys' comments on the screens here, because a lot of you guys see, he's deceived, but you also see that he means well, right? You see that he means well, right? And so it's interesting to see here what he has to say, and just look at that. So I just wanted to play that. I have another clip from here. He comments a few times, right? He comments a few times, and you saw some positive things, right? I mean, hey, he did talk about walking away from sin, and so you see some positive things, right? But I mean, again, just because you do that, that also doesn't make it right. You could become a Jehovah's Witness or a Mormon or a Muslim and still think that way, right? It doesn't necessarily mean your ideology is correct, right? And Curly Shanae brings up, but even if you were a true Hebrew, or whatever, it wouldn't matter. Being a Jew doesn't save you, only Jesus does. Yes, exactly. Amen. That's facts. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. What else are you guys saying here? All right. Man, you guys have a lot of comments on that. A lot of good comments here. Richie Torres, shout out to you. So I like you guys, you'll be able to be fair, where he makes a good point. You can say, hey, good point there, but then where he doesn't make a good point, and you can see, that he's a cool guy. Mr. Miyagi wore the same headband. Come on. Aisha Marie brings out the point. Him, Nick, Fantasia all come from Christian backgrounds, but they all rejected the truth and are false converts and choose false Christianity. Yeah, true. All right. All right. There's one more I'm going to play. Just looking through the comments on this. Good. Good. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's play another one here. All right, we'll play another one here. All right. And why won't it get off the screen? Whatever. I got another way to do it. Okay. This I believe is the last video I'm gonna play. All right. Well, hold up. Looks like I had a comment coming through. Super chat from XP, and I do appreciate the super chats. You know, I'm sorry I have not been able to comment on everything. It would be better if we could do this on the smoke room session, which I think the next one is scheduled for next Sunday night, where I let people come in. XP, you've been really killing it with the super chats, so I really respect that. You deserve my ear. I wish we could be on a different show, though, because I'm trying to stay on topic. So I'll read this, but out of respect for your super chats, but, you know, it's really off topic. So how did Judas Maccabees, the Jew in the revolt of the Roman Empire, claim to be fighting them even after Jesus and after Jesus had died in 167 AD? So let's talk about that briefly. One is I'd have to see the quote where he is said to have said this, right? That's the first thing. And regardless of what he said, the question is he correct in his assertion if he did say this, right? So first of all, did he say it? And second of all, is he right if he said that? And third of all, remember, saying that the prophecies of Edom have been fulfilled, you know, we're in 2020. You're going back to, you know, the 2nd century. You see what I'm saying? And so I do believe Edom was slowly wiped out. I believe during this period of time, actually, that you're bringing up is sort of the last throes of those who were left who were Edomites. You don't really see them mentioned in the historical record much past Josephus, it appears, and they kind of disappear. People mentioning Idumea or Edomites as far as a distinct people, okay? Now, you see later on certain rabbis associating the Roman Empire with Edom. That's a fact. That's in the rabbinical literature. But it's clear that it seems most of them anyway. There may be some exception I'm not aware of. But most of the ones I'm aware of seem to do it in a sense of sort of a spiritual connection, or that the Roman Empire is like Edom in that way. It doesn't seem like many of them are thinking they're literally the Edomites from what I've been able to tell. But I'd love to talk to you more, again, if we could, on this, because I respect your super chats. But maybe if you could come on next Sunday night, I believe is what I'm going to do it. I'd love to see you then. We could talk face to face, and I could really go through your questions because it's open forum next time. All right. So now let's look here. Now this one is a little bit different than everything I've played. Remember the Deshaun Jackson fiasco. If you don't, there's a whole show on it. Maybe somebody could drop that into the live chat. I would appreciate that. Okay. But now I'm bringing up a different one, a different IG video, because that was from Brandon T. Jackson's Instagram Live. I think I failed to mention that. Shout out to my man, Aaron Minharez, who's got a new video dropping actually next week. That's my homie right there. Shout out to him for sending me that Brandon T. Jackson clip, right? Man, I can't speak today. I'm sorry, man. I've made a lot of mistakes today. All right, so here, though, we've got Dwight Howard, who also has a Christian background, at least based upon where he went to high school. And this happened more in response to the Deshaun Jackson stuff, okay? So this is not in response to Canon, but I'm bringing this up to show that another sort of celebrity who has embraced Hebrew Israelism, most certainly, and I want to see what he has to say here. Because what happens is in this, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. So, you know, first of all, respect, shout out to Dwight Howard for like connecting with his fans this way. Because if you go through his video and look, he just looks like he's like talking to different people. It's kind of a cool thing that he does that. He seems like a really legit guy. Like Dwight Howard seems cool. Like he's got an easy smile. He's talking to people. He's laid back. He doesn't seem pretentious. You know, I have nothing but respect for that. You know what I'm saying? And he's like talking to all kinds of people, right? He seems down to do it. And I don't know a ton about him, right? I see he's talking to one guy who's got a cross in his background. Be interesting to know more about him, whatever. He's got all types of different fans you see here, right? But somebody sent me this and said, look, Vocab, around the one, I wonder if those are Hebrew Israelites. That looks like Hebrew Israelite couple. She's got a head wrap and he has a full beard. I haven't watched all this video. I don't know. We'll look at that later. Okay. But out here I'm going to go right about here. He brings up this guy. Dwight Howard. And this guy says he's Jewish. And Dwight Howard says some things that let you know, basically, it seems like he doesn't think this guy's really Jewish. Because they talk a little about this is in response to the Deshaun Jackson stuff, right, which I covered earlier. So let's listen to what this guy says, okay?
Bigger picture from Lil Baby, yeah.
Hey, let's take Haram. We're gonna have to.
How you doing, dog?
We're gonna have to block you if you can't
I'm
maintain
doing
yourself.
great.
Haram, just let me warn you. I don't mind you coming in here, but name calling and all that stuff, the way you're being, but might have to get rid of you. But just be cool,
I
man.
would love to really, really talk about it.
I feel that.
But you're trying to get me in trouble.
No.
So he's asking about Deshaun Jackson. Dwight Howard says I'd love to talk about it. You're trying to get me in trouble. So he's aware of the 10-foot pole nature of all this stuff. Because Deshaun Jackson quoted Hitler, basically said, hey, yo, the Jews are not, they're frauds, right? Indication is we're the true Jews. So this is prior to this. But watch, he's got a smile on his face because he knows this is a contentious issue. But Dwight Howard, again, whom from what I know of him, have nothing but respect for. I don't follow celebrity sports athletes that much. But let's see what he says here to this fan he speaks to. This is the last video we're playing of tonight, by the way.
No. I mean, it was just crazy because, like, I see it from a different perspective.
Where do you see it from? Where do you see it from?
I see it from a Jewish perspective, like, understanding it completely, and it's like...
So he's saying, I see this comment from Deshaun Jackson in different light because I'm Jewish. And I like Dwight Howard seems like a cool guy. He's like, what do you see it from? So he's trying to understand this guy. That's a smart question. What do you see it from? So he's a cool guy. I like this guy.
Many different cultures, whatever it may be, race, religion, where you're born, where you're raised, like, it shapes the culture around you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, seeing someone say something negative, whether it be your race, so like Black Lives Matter, for example, I'm all for the movement, like 110%. It's equality. It's common sense at the end of the day, like equality.
So I've seen this reaction from a lot of Ashkenazi descended Jews in America in relationship to some of these recent flare-ups. They'll say, hey, man, I got to affirm Black Lives Matter, but let me talk about this anti-Semitism well. So especially like the millennial types, I've noticed, they're kind of like, they feel like they're in an interesting position in regards to this issue.
We should be progressing in our lives today.
Equality.
Yes.
You know that since 1619 we have been fighting for equality.
Do you know that since 1619 we have been fighting for equality? Well, I don't know if there was necessarily a civil rights movement back in 1619, but we understand this point when the first kidnapped Africans were brought to the slaves of what would become America. 1619 is the date he's referring to. And so let's see what he says here.
100%.
And we have not gotten it.
Right.
So what would you do?
We have not gotten it, so what would you do?
See, that's why I'm all for the movement. I'm not sure.
What movement?
Black Lives Matter in general, like stemming back all the way to like systematic slavery.
See, it's two things.
This is an interesting conversation, ain't it? This is a fascinating conversation. This is I don't know. This is interesting. Really listening to this.
We have to start getting ready. We have to start knowing our history.
We have to start knowing our history. He's not just saying we need to understand Black history better. He's not saying that. He's saying we have to know our true history. What is he saying? The true history? The true history is that we're the true Israelites. That's what he's saying.
Right.
So we have all been told that we are from Africa.
We have all been told that we are all from Africa. Dwight Howard clearly has embraced Hebrew Israelism.
No offense to anybody that's Africans on this live, but a lot of us are from this place right here. We're from America, but we don't know our true history because our history was stripped from us. See, that is the big difference, I think.
We don't know our true history because our history was stripped from us. That is the big difference, I think. So he had to say, hey, no offense to any Africans, but we're not African. This is Hebrew Israelism talking, right?
From, I think that is the difference, of what you see with a lot of the Jews and then a lot of people that, are black.
That's the big difference between with a lot of the Jews and a lot of people that are black, all right?
And we will not say F America because, I'm sorry, somebody said F America. We all.
So, like I said, he's a cool guy. We would not say F America. So he's not embracing radical one Westism or anything like that. Even though he recognizes the black struggle, which is legitimate both then and now, I think he probably also recognizes his fortunate place in society in other aspects because of certain gifts and talents, as well as his hard work. I'm sure, he's like not trying to be anti-American about it, right? And so, I don't know. I'm just trying to follow this conversation. This is interesting. We live in a very interesting time where this dude he doesn't know, some Jewish kid, can talk to Dwight Howard, NBA star, live right there. And they're talking about Hebrew Israelism. This is just fascinating world we live in.
So regardless of how bad you might feel about your country and how divided we are right now, we still live in America. When you go to these other countries, these other places around the world, they respect their flag. They respect where they're from. They respect all that stuff. And to really be honest with you, do you know your history?
So he kind of changed tracks there, right? He said they respect their flag. He seemed to be saying if you go around the world, other countries respect their flag. We should respect our flag. He seems to be saying that, right? So he seems to be like just embracing the fact that I live in America. I respect that. But then this is probably the most telling part of the conversation. I'm going to go back just a little bit. 2649. Got to go back just a tad. Because he says, but to be honest with you, do you know your history? You got to understand the subtext of this. It seems almost absolute, he's saying, the fact that you're actually descended from Khazarian converts and you're not a real Jew. Now, he's not going to say Esau. I don't think he embraces that idea. I don't think that's who he is, right? Judah Lion says, no, I'm not stupid enough to believe this is random vocab. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know what you're trying to say. I put your comment on the screen, Judah, but what do you say? What do you mean? I guess I am stupid enough to believe that it was random, okay? So, but whatever, I got you. And then what else? Somebody else said something interesting. Where did it go? Reggie Noble, is Redman here? Hey, shout out to Redman. I can't wait. Great song. Rah, rah. Yeah, what's up? Yeah. No, you haven't followed Dwight Howard. I've shown screenshots of his Instagram before where he's talking about, Yah and lions and tribe of Judah. He certainly embraces Hebrew Israelism. This is like an established fact if you're paying attention. You're not understanding. He's not saying black Americans are indigenous to North America. You're simply mistaken. That's not what he's saying. You probably not aware of the issues or know what's popping. I hear you, but that's not what he's saying. Okay, I understand the full context of this conversation. I understand other stuff that he said. Right. So, Chris Topher says, "Is that Dwight Howard?" Yes, this is Dwight Howard. Where you been? Where you been, Chris? Chris Topher? Where you been? Yes, it's Dwight Howard. I'm just kidding, man. If I saw off the top, I wouldn't know either because I don't really know NBA players like that, as you can tell by my earlier mistake. So it is what it is. Daniel Valencia's hating on Dwight Howard. He got all kinds of negative things to say. I mean, you can't hate on him just because he doesn't say shout out to the yard guys. I don't know. Maybe it was personal. Maybe you wanted him to say what's up. I can't go with you, though. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, give Dwight Howard a break, Daniel. Nick P., I don't think Dwight Howard's that kind of Hebrews like. Okay, guys, we got to understand. Tell your fans he's going to be your slave in the kingdom. Yeah, you won't because you want to give up all that money and get fired. Nick, I don't think that's the kind of Hebrews like he is. Guys, we got to understand. There are different kind of Hebrew Israelites. They don't all embrace the idea that non-Jews in their mind, non-Israelites, are going to be their slaves. So it doesn't mean he thinks that. I thought I've done a good enough job to explain to you guys eschatology of Hebrew Israelites. That's one West. They don't all believe that. Okay, so we don't have to assume Dwight Howard is being disingenuous here, guys. Nation Marie says he came into the league with a clean-cut Christian image. So clearly, you know more about the current NBA than I do. You know, I mean, seriously, I didn't really know that. I didn't tell me what happened. Like, how did he abandon it? What's happened? I didn't even actually know that idea. I didn't know that about him. What I'd be curious to see like what's been going on with him and stuff like that. I didn't know about that, but interesting insight. All right, so we're sorry, Vocab. DJC says you guess 70% of black celebs believe they're Hebrew Israelites. Nah. No way. No. It's getting there. It's getting there. But it ain't no 70%, right? Hassan, I like your comments. I like your comment there. I'll put that on there. All right. Wow, John Jack. Allahu Akbar, our great God Allah will help us destroy churches and temples and build mosques on top of them. This is our jihad. Are you serious or are you trolling me right now? Haram, I have books. I have books too. Congratulations. He has books, everyone. Oh, man, you guys are cracking me up tonight. Okay, let's just listen. I want him to hear the say this one more time, okay?
America. We all live here. So regardless of how
listen carefully,
bad you might feel about your country and how divided we are right now, we still live in America. When you go to these other countries, these other places around the world, they respect their flag. They respect where they're from. They respect all that stuff. And to really be honest with you, do you know your history?
Yes.
You do. So do you know who the original Jews were?
Hebrew Israelite debate, Dwight Howard versus his fans. Do you know your history? Yeah, I know my history. Do you know who the original Jews were? Oh.
I mean, there's many different traditions behind it. They say there's there's people who stem from Israel, and they say there's black Israelites.
They say black Israelites. I said, do you know your history about what you believe in? So this.
Well, that's not really what he said. Do you know the history about what you believe in? That's not exactly what he said here. But this is still fascinating.
Yeah.
We all have to learn our true history. We have to learn our true history.
We all have to learn our true history. So this is funny. It's like, hey, I need to learn that I'm a true Jew, and you need to learn that you're a Khazarian convert. Yes, one day I do need to do a show on the Khazarian convert hypothesis, because a lot of that is that's one thing that they undergird their idea with. So we'll have to do that. All right. Judah the Lion is enjoying this. You know, there are Hebrew Israelites who watch this show just to stay informed. Because if you notice, like, I really bring a lot of information out, right? And I give some analysis and in-depth perspective and tie things. So there are Hebrew Israelites who watch the show basically to get their news updates about what's popping.
Which means that we got to search we have to go seek for our information. We can't just listen to what we have been taught for years, because that's the wrong way to go about it. We don't know who we are. We don't know where our ancestors are from, because our history, our families were taken away from us. My great-great-grandma was sold as a slave.
Okay, now this is the facts of the issue. But see, that doesn't equal Hebrew Israelism. Those two things don't go together. Right? I rock this little Italian bandana. It's got Sicily down there. Man, my people weren't even over here until like 1910, 1919. I had to look up the exact year. You know, most black folks in America have been in America way longer than my people have been in America. As far, you know what I'm saying? It's fascinating. And I'm sure he's probably one of them. You know what I mean?
12 years old. She didn't see her family ever again from the time she died at 104. So from 12 to 104, she didn't see nobody in her family. And this has happened to a lot of our people here in America. We don't know who we are because our history has been taken away from us. So yes, I understand your point, and I understand everybody's point. But for Black people in general, we haven't had a chance to know what our history is because it's been taken away. They have given us distractions, and I'm not talking about basketball now.
That's funny. They've given us distractions, not basketball though. Sorry.
I'm talking about they have given us things to try to distract us from who we are and where we came from. And I think that it's time that we find out who we really are. This is the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, man, I agree completely, and I like what you're doing. Like, you're educating, you're understanding. Like,
Poor guy has no idea what Dwight Howard's really saying. Yeah, I like what you're doing. You're educating. He has no idea. You guys are dumb. Hey. Basketball players might be descendants of the Nephilim because they are so tall. Let's listen to this, though.
we're talking about your grandmother. Like that was an inspirational story. Like, understanding your education on it, and from my perspective and what I saw in like Deshaun Jackson, it was disappointing that he would like diminish any other religion, race, culture, whatever it may be, based on that concept. Like he was quoting someone who killed 6 million people.
How do you know he did that though?
So he's saying it's disappointing Deshaun Jackson is quoting Hitler, who, killed 6 million Jews. And it appears Dwight Howard is saying, how do you know Hitler did that, though? Nazis, by the way, they kept really tight records. When people talk about not knowing what the Nazis did, yeah, they had some secrets. Now, there was no Hydra, although some of the stuff they did kind of did look like a real Hydra. But they kept some very hyper-detailed records. The Germans weren't playing around. How do you know he did that, though? Listen.
This is what people have told us.
This is what people have told us. Is he questioning Hitler? See, you don't want to play around with Holocaust denial, Holocaust minimization. You don't want to play around with that. Dwight.
So for us as Black people, why would you allow your oppressors to teach you? Why would you allow?
Now, he is changing subjects here. All due respect to you, Mr. Howard. First, it was like, how do you know what Hitler really did with, what you're talking about, the Holocaust? Now he's flipping over to, why would we allow our oppressors to give us our history, right? These are two different subjects. The history of Hitler is not history of Black folks in America. We got some problems here. But this is what happens when you embrace Hebrew Israelism. You embrace pseudo-alternative history.
Your oppressors to feed you, give you knowledge. We wouldn't know where this information really came from. We're just going by what somebody has told us. So how do you or me know if it's true or false? Unless we actually put the phone down, unless we actually sit down and learn, sit down and go read, sit down and go to these books and try to find the true history. We haven't. What we have done is just allow someone to give us knowledge and we take it and run with it. And that's all I'm saying is that has to change. We need to find out who we are, where we come from.
Definitely, as humans.
Huh?
I mean, as humans, like for myself, I'm always educating myself. I read books. I've been to many museums on this topic, and I definitely educate myself. I think like
where you get your information from?
So where are you getting information from? Where's Dwight Howard getting his information from? you know? Guys, this is I know Judah Lyon's talking about Rakab, but right here, you know, the guy who's speaking right now, that's Dwight Howard speaking.
Who's guiding you? Who are you listening to? These are the things that you must ask before you can't.
Who's guiding you? Who are you listening to? The dude says myself. So you see the disconnect here.
Do that. If you don't believe in the Bible, take this scripture. It says, lean not into your own understanding.
Amen.
You see what I'm saying?
But notice he's talking about getting into history books to find our identity. But now he's equating that with trusting God's word. Mr. Howard, those are not the same things. Reading the pseudo history of from Babylon to Timbuktu is not the same thing as trusting God's word. See, a lot of these dudes have literally equated Hebrew Israelism with Bible truth, and they think that's for real. That's why my man Haram Awadan is in here. I'm sorry, Haram Adawan is in here saying you don't believe the Bible vocab, because he equates Hebrew Israelism now with the Bible. That's the error of these cults, one of them.
You can't just go by your own understanding. You have to actually go, you got to have a guide. You can't go by what somebody has given you, because who are the people that's giving you this information? And why would they give you the information that way?
Sure. I mean,
sure. He's like, oh man.
like what I'm saying is, I'm talking outside of like specifically religion, like museums, books in itself. Like,
okay, so how do you know that these books and these museums are showing you the right information? So you know what's in the bottom of the.
I mean, the Torah is the New Testament. It's that.
Nah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Do you know what's in the bottom of what? I wish I could have heard what he was saying. I don't know what he was saying there.
But there is the Vatican.
Oh boy, Dwight Howard, do you know what's in the bottom of the Vatican? Oh boy.
The Vatican?
Enlighten me.
Now, I'm sorry, little brother man in the bottom. How do you not know what the Vatican is? All due respect, my man. This is an adult. Certainly he's a young adult. But my man doesn't even know. Shows you how easily people can get caught up with Hebrew Israelism. I'm not saying this guy particularly, although there are Jews who co-sign it. The dude doesn't know what the Vatican is, bro. Come on, man. How do you know what the Vatican is, bro? That's how disconnected a lot of these guys are from understanding anything in Western history and religion, you know?
You know what the Vatican is? You know what they're hiding in the Vatican?
No.
Right. See, that's what I'm saying.
Asking.
So, it's not, you have to go search for this stuff on your own.
Dwight Howard is a tease. Do you know what they're hiding in the bottom of the Vatican? Do you know what they're hiding in the bottom of the Vatican? Hey, do you know what they're hiding in the bottom of the Vatican? What the Vatican? What's that? I don't know. What's the Vatican? Hey, they're hiding some stuff down there in the bottom of the Vatican. They're hiding some stuff down there in the bottom of the Vatican. Well, really? I don't know what the Vatican is, but I want to know what they're hiding. What are they hiding about the Vatican? I can't tell you. It's not my place to tell you. You got to go online and look at the websites, and they'll tell you what they're hiding in the bottom of the Vatican. But it's been nice to talk to you.
So you can get understanding. But what I'm saying is, there's something in the Vatican that they're hiding from all of us. So,
but the internet knows about it, and Dwight Howard has uncovered the truth.
You got to go and do your research. You see what I'm saying?
Who is this fool? Only One Way. You're a true 80s nerd. They're hiding all those unwanted copies of E.T. for Atari. That's like some real nerd. That's like some real nerd reference right there. You know, you probably know. There's a whole documentary about that. It's wild how they discovered and covered all those copies in the landfill. Weirdo. You guys are.
Sure.
You can't just go by the books that we were given at school.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not. Bro, I'm sure in one of those books you were in school, they've had to have talked about the Vatican. I mean, he didn't know what the Vatican was?
And somebody said gold that could win, gold that could end world hunger. That is a part of it.
Go back where?
But there's a lot of stuff going on, man. So I would say this
Go back to where? I wish I could have heard what he said there.
is the year for truth. This is the year for truth.
This is the year for truth. Is he on that 400-year prophecy? Is he on that 400-year prophecy? Dwight Howard, are you on that 400-year prophecy?
And people have to go out. People have to go out and really seek and search for the truth. Somebody said religion has caused more harm than good.
All right, so this conversation goes on. It is interesting. So I can't play all this because we're getting a little close to our time when we need to end. So I hope this has been helpful. But let me show you a little bit about what's up with other stuff coming up here on the channel. Let me real quick jump over here and show you real quick here. I must keep you guys informed, okay? I'm sharing my screen. First of all, this is interesting. Mari Stoudemire got involved here as well. Mari Stoudemire calls for into anti-Semitism among African Americans who attack someone in that manner shows another level of ignorance, says former NBA star who is identified as a Hebrew Israelite. So now he's with Israel though, so he's kind of got a different perspective there. But I just wanted to. I'm not gonna look at the stupid TMZ one. But that was interesting, right? Now, here's what I needed to show you. Let's see here. What's going on the channel coming up here? So here's upcoming live streams. This is what we're doing right now. Tomorrow, we're going to be looking at this. Ladies and gentlemen, do you realize that Sports Illustrated has done a 3-part series on Pastor Dow and Straightway Ministries. And it featured heavily Kabir, who has been a guest on this program, who I respect and love. He probably won't be happy about tomorrow's show because we're going to get deep into these. And yes, these Sports Illustrated articles do briefly refer and quote me in them. Never thought it was going to be quoted in SI. This gets deep into Israelism and NFL. That's tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, I'm doing a brief teaching live on the verse that prosperity preachers use, Malachi 3, 6-12. You definitely want to see that. The 24th, that is actually when I would like to try to have Asha Marie and Justin Martyr on if we could. So this is to be announced. I'd like to fill you in there if you could. The 25th, that's next Sunday, going to do another smoke room. And then check this out here. We're going to be doing our book review. I haven't told everybody yet, but to the monthly book review we do for Street Apologist, the next one is going to be on John Piper's free book called Coronavirus and Christ, which has actually got him into some trouble, believe it or not. We're going to be looking at that book and talking about coronavirus and Christ, so you definitely want to join for that show. That's like 2 Sundays. Oh, wait, hold on. Did I say the 25th was a Sunday? Apologies, excuse me, the 25th was a Saturday. So I messed up on that. The next smoke room should be on a Saturday. My bad. The 26th is when our book review is, though. And then I'm going to be doing the Bible study on Malachi in 9 days. There you see the date on that about the promise of Elijah from the end of Malachi. And so you definitely want to peep that out. And so those are coming up. Now let's look at our upcoming live streams here. We've got Islamicizing back to day 24. And all the dates for when these are going to air right there. Day 25. So you notice we've only got like 6 episodes of Islamicize Me. This is a really good little thing about my interactions with GMS Dallas. I give a reflection, and the video has actually turned out really well. Bri from the Shy hooked it up. It's pretty funny. We're going to be doing this. So I'm just showing you real quick. I'm not reading all the titles, just all the different things coming up. So you really want to check out the playlist that I have here that's called Upcoming Live Streams, and then also upcoming premieres. This one is going to get me in massive trouble. I'm not going to give any hints about what's in it, but just be ready, watch out. Support this, like it in advance, okay? That's all I'm going to say about it. You see the date there, and you see all these Islamicize Me special editions coming up. And sadly, it is winding down. We've only got about a couple weeks worth. You know, by the time we hit August 13th, this is the final episode. We will be done. And then I'm thinking of airing the Boom Boom Room on the channel after that. So just dropping that real quick. Now what I'm going to do here is flip over to end with a freestyle. All the real hip-hop heads should probably leave. And all the people who don't mind my mediocre freestyling should stick around. All right? Does that sound fair? All right. Let me flip over. Justin Martyr, though, did produce this beat. So shout out to him. Not the beat you're hearing, the beat I'm going to bring up. So shout out to Justin Martyr for bringing in the beat here. Let me get the beat. Let me get the beat. Let me get the beat. Where to go? 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 Hey, yeah. Where the beat go? Where the beat go? Where the beat go? Justin Martyr with the track Freestyle. Here we go. Shout out to Justin Martyr, though. We're gonna have him on the show soon. Appreciate all the tracks he drops, as well as my man Soko. Much love to y'all. Here we go. Bring that in, yeah. Bring that in, yeah. Bring it in now. Bring it in now. Here we go, bring in that bass line. I don't wanna waste your time when I drop this rhyme at the end of the show. Vocab Malone, I got that flow. I got an H2O right here. Check it out now, come on in, my dear. Rock it, loud and clear. Yes, indeed, don't live by fear, but live by love from God above. Jesus the Christ, like a hand in glove. I fit in, now I'm kicking. Give me the microphone, no it's sticking like scotch tape over the beat break. Yes, indeed, I'm gaining some weight. Hey, it's way past late. Here we come again, her rhyme says fake. Why you hate and call me no swag? Vocab Malone ain't about a bag. My pants maybe sag with just a little. My rhyme's so slick, put him in a hospital. When I spit hot spittle, hot off the griddle. Play-Doh whack like they was a fiddle. So hey diddle, hey diddle daddle. Come Seattle, now you scattle like Seattle. You know that he reigns. Get it? Maine, rain like Seattle. Washing tons of rappers when I battle. After read a chapter, John chapter 3. Vocab Malone, he real MC. Unlike the freestyle, beat the beat from Justin Martyr, Chi-Town. I'm chillin' in my seat, shout out to Nick P. Here we go again, 1, 2, 3. Got Justice in back of me. He's chillin' so happily, rapidly, I'm rapping, see. Here I come again, who's after me? It's a happy beat with this mad hype. Jesus the Christ give you what you like and what you need. So I proceed, stay away from what? Greed, I will read. You know I need Jesus the Christ, in him I see the seed of Abraham. Shout out to Martyr for the dope jam. Hey yo, what's up? See me, my man. Give me a pound, give me a hand. Hey, beat is ending. Peace the sign now, you can be friending me, we can be not friendless. Jesus the Christ made me a witness for Jehovah. The beat is rolling over, yes, rock it. Now I flow real quick. Vocab Malone, I hit this like a Nesquik. Biz quick, stir it up with a switch like your mama. Grab a wood and back in the day. Rockin' since Y2K, 20 years ago, long time ago. Vocab Malone, this is the end of the show. For the sister and for the bro. Here we come again like G.I. Joe. All real American hero. Can't forget the Italian, no zero. I'm Sicilian like De Niro. I don't really like no Cheerio, but oregano, I will take that. Here come the beat with the boom bap. You know it's righteous, we stay on the track. I got the Kango, black hat. Got my dog chillin' in the back. Oh, Haram, you're gonna have to get blocked. Why are you being such a meanie? All right, y'all, come back next time. See you tomorrow night. Peace out, shalom, and